So next I'd like to introduce our MC for today. Her name is Natalie Kwan. And Natalie is a senior graduating this fall, 2022, with a BBA in Marketing, Human Resource Management, and International Business. She's very busy. So she also serves as a Scheidler Global Leader and as the Executive Director for the Scheidler's largest networking event, Business Night. In addition, she works as a freelance artist as a side business and as a fellow creative entrepreneur with a chocolate sweet tooth. Natalie is very honored to be emceeing today. So thank you for joining us, and I'll turn it over to Natalie.
Hi everyone, thank you Kara for the amazing introduction. I'm very excited to be your MC today. As she said earlier, I do love chocolate and just anything creative. So I'm very happy to be welcoming Erin today. For a short introduction, Erin Kanno Uehara is a local girl born and raised in Hawaii with a big dream to not own a chocolate business. Her dream was to help make this world a better place by connecting with people and investing in relationships. And since 2014, she's had the amazing opportunity to live out a mission of bringing peace to our world, one chocolate at a time. Erin received her bachelor's degree in education from the University of Hawaii at Manoa and her master's degree right here in business administration at the Scheidler College of Business. And when the state shut down due to the pandemic, Erin found herself at home being a full-time mom, teacher, and business owner. Despite these challenges, she was determined to continue her mission and started to document her journey during COVID. Erin wrote her first book, Bringing Peace to Our World, One Chocolate Story at a Time. 20 helpful and relevant routines to start living your best life now. Please join me in welcoming Erin. Yay! Thank you. Let's go ahead and get seated and we'll begin. Hi everyone. Once again, thanks so much for stopping by. And of course, anyone online, if you have any questions, feel free to write them down in the chat and I'll either ask them for Erin at the end or even during our interview today. So go ahead and type away and I'll keep an eye on that for you guys. But to start us off with the first question, since your last speaking event with us, what has changed for your business and also yourself personally?
Since the last time I spoke with you, which was, thank you, Kara, for that reminder, 2016?
Yeah.
So that was how many years ago? 6 years ago? A lot has changed, but that's a good thing, right? Because we want to keep learning and growing. Off the top of my head, the biggest thing would be that my baby girl is now 7, almost 7, and my son is almost 5, so I also had a second child.
Wow.
I would say, in short, what has changed in the past 6 years? In short, I feel like personally and in business, I've probably grown a lot more grateful, focused, and maybe generous. I've seen how our business has really gone really up financially and grown in size and scale, and then, like you said, in the pandemic, just come completely down, that it almost feels like, in a way, where we are now is almost like 2016 again when you look at it in a financial perspective. But we've just experienced so many things in that time that the way that we can grow again feels a lot more exciting, you know, at this time. Yeah, I don't know if you want me to go through that whole journey of kind of how we expanded in those years. And
Yeah, I think that would be great, just to give everyone a quick refresh on how you guys have been doing.
Fast forward, I guess, 6 years. So 2016, 2017 for us was kind of a big explosive year. We doubled in size. We built out a second commercial kitchen. We doubled our team. So we were still making all of our chocolates up in Manoa. But now we had, besides retail and wholesale and corporate partnerships, we began exporting to Japan.
Yeah.
So that was really big for us. We started doing hands-on workshops. We invited people into our kitchen. We would make chocolates together. They would take it home. We even dabbled in coffee. So we learned how to make coffee so that we could have a chocolate and coffee cafe and have people sit down and just enjoy in our shop. And what else did we do? We just kept growing. And then 2020, it went, of course, everything is, like you said in my book, the documentary of the loss, the exhaustion, every week to week. I know everybody experienced something in that pandemic, and it just documents a whole range of emotions and things. But it was really about survival for 2020, at home as a parent and as a business owner. And 2021 is when we launched a book. And so we kind of came back with our mission of bringing peace to a world, one chocolate and now one book at a time. And we started doing talks like this. So we started going in the community and doing Zooms and just sharing with people our story, our entrepreneurial journey, and really living out our mission in a different way. So now we're here in 2022 and continuing to do that. So thanks for having us back.
Yeah, I mean, that's so awesome. Even though you said maybe, you know, financially or in some other business aspects, it's the same as 2016. Of course, yourself and the knowledge that you have and just really your team is nowhere like that, you know.
Right.
Just this constant growth is amazing to hear. So
yeah,
that's awesome. And not to get stuck in 2016, but I remember hearing your story, you know, of just how your business came to be and how you reconnected with the long lost family member and everything. That sounds like a movie, really.
So fun.
Yeah, but do you think you could share with us maybe what was the exact moment or maybe moments that you realized that Choco was like your true professional calling, like your it moment that made you think, yeah, this is what I have to do?
I don't think I had that, you know, that moment of this is my true professional calling. I think it was more, it was truly my personal calling. So like my personal calling is to connect with people and to build relationships and to just love other people. So that's why it got started with that Long Last Family. It was really about just loving this family, getting to know this family, connecting with them. And we did it over chocolates. So it became just a thing that I said yes to really because of my personal calling, that I could see chocolates as a universal language of love, that you hear chocolates, right? And so you're like, what? I'm gonna come because there's chocolates, you know? And that was a way that could really bridge us together. So I saw that as kind of just a platform to say yes to in order to do the personal calling. I feel like the professional could keep changing as long as it aligns with what your personal calling is. So I don't know if there's an exact moment I said, yes, this is my professional, but I was like, yes, this is doing something that I want to do and not just work and live, but as part of my life. Does that make sense?
That's awesome. Yeah, of course. And I think even just having your personal calling is so special, you know. I almost want to ask like how you found that, you know, even take it a step back even more. I think for so many of us, you know, we're just young students. We've been told after you go to high school, go to college, you know, or we have parents telling us do this or do that. But how did you find that personal calling for yourself?
I mean, you kind of know what you just really love, what you're really good at, what naturally, what just lights you on fire. Like for me to come and to be able to share with anybody who's interested in learning, and it excites me, you know, and so I knew like, it's just usually something that we don't know how to implement it, so we don't say it. But we kind of all have something inside that's like, I really like this, but I don't know if that could be a job, or if that's approval for, you know, the work that might be approved by everybody else.
Yeah, definitely. I definitely have that myself in terms of like being creative, and it's just, I think for a lot of us, it might just be finding out if, you know, if that is enough, you know, to make it our, that personal calling, if we're proud enough to say it, you know, to other people. I think we're so tempted to keep it inside of ourselves, you know. So I think it's really amazing that you almost have your own personal mantra or brand that you can go off of that really just is the root of all of, you know, your business and your life and everything. It's amazing.
But I think like don't take it too hard. Like you're young and you're just like, it takes time, I think, to even find that. And you can't, and it's not like just sitting by yourself and going, I wonder what my calling is, you know, like you have to actually just work, just go, just apply for something. And when you're in the jobs, any job, and you're working alongside of people or you're building something, that's kind of when you start discovering it. I don't think you discover it by yourself, you know, like just by yourself. So I'm like, everybody got to take some grace, and I do that too. Even some moments you question it and you're like, do I really like doing this? And you're like, hey, let's go back. Let's go back. Why did we start this? Yeah. So.
Sure. Not to start us off too deep with finding our true calling and everything in life. Maybe we jumped the gun a little bit. I'll go ahead and ask more about your business and everything. But whatever. I mean, it just came so natural. I had to ask, because I think you do such a good job of explaining that. But to go back to Chocolate and chocolate and everything, you had mentioned like in your book that you had to make some big decisions, especially when it came to streamlining processes during the pandemic, and then now, with things changing once again, expanding your business back to how things once were, like having drive-bys for pickups or opening up your store again. And you had mentioned that curbside sales, you were a little bit unsure about the packaging, but your customers loved it.
Yeah.
And I could totally relate to that as someone who's a bit of a perfectionist myself, but how did you make these tough decisions as like a small business owner where you could just decide, that's, people love it and that's enough, and like, where do you find your confidence in saying that,
You read the book.
Yeah? I did my homework.
I was like, if you're like, what? Curbside? What is she talking about? What? All these packaging things? It's all in the book. Like,
well, I follow you guys on Instagram as well.
Too. Yeah.
So even like when you talked about the tours and stuff, like when I was 16 in 2016, I was like, oh, I want to go to that. But I didn't have a credit card, so I couldn't book it myself, obviously. Like, I still remember that. I was like, I wish I could go. But it's okay. I'm here now. I'm talking to you. So.
Now we can eat chocolate here.
I know.
But how did we make those decisions? So there was a lot of those decisions in the pandemic, and you said your question was, say that again, was how did I make those decisions? And it was mission-based, really, because the weight of how many decisions needed to be made without a history or mentor that could tell me exactly what to do, or everybody was kind of scrambling and like, what is everybody else doing? It really took time to just be like, hey, wait, what are we trying to do? And our mission was bringing peace to our world, one chocolate at a time.
So relevant, yeah.
So it was like, okay, how do we bring this peace to people if they don't want to get out of their car? How do we bring peace to people who are stuck at home now? Or how do we bring peace to people who don't eat chocolate right now? How do we bring peace to people who are not in Hawaii? And so it kind of drove those decisions to be able to do like the book talks, to be able to do a blog weekly, sending out encouraging blogs to everyone about this is what we're going through. We don't know where you are, but we just want you to know we're here for you as a chocolate friend. Those kinds of decisions just happened as we stayed hyper-focused on the mission. I think other than that, it was really like, what's the right thing to do? So even though it was like, oh, you could do all these things and there's so many options, at the end of the day, it's kind of like how people say, follow your gut. You hear it a lot, follow your gut, follow your gut. It's like, wow, that really is true. Those times that I didn't follow and times that you do. But it is something about following that intuition, and also it's like the entrepreneurial mindset. You know, you're really looking at how do you take care of whatever people are under you, or whatever people you are serving, or whatever people you're partnered with, and fulfilling the mission that your company is set to do, and then do it the right way. And so if that means maybe it's slower, or it's super safe and it's more of a hassle, or it's not going to make you as much money right away, I feel like it was something that I could be super confident about and know like, hey, maybe this didn't go exactly like how everybody else imagined, but I know that for my business and my responsibilities, I did it the way that I feel genuinely, authentically confident about, that we made the best decisions we could as we were moving forward. So I don't know, that confidence just comes in, for me, I guess the confidence comes from my faith. So I just really feel like me spending time in my word and looking at what is the right things to do and loving people is the answer when people are upset and people are frustrated with why aren't you open again, or that kind of thing. It's to respond in that love. Not necessarily respond in the way everybody wants you to, because they're all different.
Of course,
Yeah, I guess that's really how we made those decisions, is focus on the mission, do it right, do it the right way. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, and I think in addition to serving customers, you know, and telling chocolate stories and everything, you also have your own team that as a leader you're serving as well, right? And for me, I'm kind of experiencing that myself as I'm kind of taking on a different leadership within Shiler this year. And so I'd love to hear from you. How are you also, you know, during the pandemic or even now, how do you serve and give confidence in your team as well?
Oh man, I wouldn't be here without my team for one thing. But I think it was just being real people with each other. Like, it's not like you're the leader and here's your team. We're all people that are going through, you know, different struggles with the pandemic. And so really just being honest with them and saying, hey, I have no idea if this is gonna work and what curbside is, but we're gonna try and run to the car. And then we're going to try and do it in like 2 minutes, or, you know, and then it's like, how long does that take this time? Oh, good, we're getting better at this. Okay, and you know, just talking out with the team and saying, hey, be part of this with me. Let's build this back up together. Let's figure out like how we're going to grow this. And I think as long as they saw that I was willing to fight for it, that I had hope in us for our future, that's, I feel like, the job of the leader is to really spark that in everyone. But also being real and saying, I'm not sure how, but if you want to help me with this, come alongside me. And, you know, like one of them is here today, like, and ones aren't here watching. Just, it worked. You know, they said, we're in, we want to help and figure this out together. And so we're all proud because we're building it back up together, you know.
That's awesome. I love that. It sounds like you have such a great team, you know, supporting you. Yeah. So I think especially in Hawaii, you know, having a network of other business owners or professionals is like really important for business and personal growth. And, you know, Shiler does a lot, whether it be like business night or student organizations to kind of build that network. But how have you kind of expanded your own professional network in Hawaii? You know, of course you did the MBA program and you said that was like making brilliant acquaintances, which is so clever.
Making brilliant acquaintances.
Yeah, it's so relevant. So maybe if you could share a little bit about whether the MBA program helped you expand that, or even after graduation, how you've continued to make your network in Hawaii.
Of course, like the MBA program for sure, you're spending a lot of time studying. You're talking to each other about how do we get through this course, and but I think expanding the network is really just like talking to everybody. Like you know, just when like how you come out to these kinds of events, right? If it's not your department, it's not your the same thing, the same season that we're in life, but you're just coming out to something saying, what's your name? What do you do? Where are you from? You know, what is your mission? What is it? You just talk to everyone. I talk to everyone. Like, you can ask my team. I talk to everyone. Yeah, he's like nodding. Casey's nodding. We go out for coffee. I'm talking to the people making our coffee. We're going through a car wash. I'll talk to people at the car wash. We'll go to a potluck. I'll talk to the family at the potluck. It's Hawaii. We're just so connected, and everybody has something to offer. Like, they don't have to be a business owner. Like, there's people in all kinds of businesses that just have so much knowledge and experience to share that we could never get ourselves. So it's kind of talking to everyone. I take chocolates with me. That helps. Because it kind of helps, you know, to like, hey, do you like chocolate? It starts the conversation. So it really is a connecting point. I'm sorry, what else did you say? Yeah, how do I expand my network? And
you know, like maybe an example or story of when having a network or support system has helped you grow, you know, personally or professionally.
You need a network. You just need it. I know that I'm still friends with people that I met in the college. That's why I'm still connected to PACE, right? I made friends with the staff, actually, and that's why, you know, we've stayed in touch with like Tracy and Crystal and stuff. And then just having, even now, I have a group of friends that are entrepreneurs, and we just get together, like different groups of us get together maybe once a quarter, some once a month, just to share life together, because sometimes it feels so lonely, you know, like you feel like you're the only one with 10 million ideas running through your head and you don't know how to get it out, you know, or you're stuck between two ideas and you just need to talk it out with a friend. I think it's so valuable to have that kind of friendship, and we still do. Like, we just had one this morning where I just called up random friends and said, let's meet at the park, have chocolates, check out this new notebooks I made, and oh, by the way, there'll be a photographer there taking pictures of us while we do that. And that's what we did, and we just like hung out, catched up, and they connected. They didn't know each other. And now they have another network of like, whether they're looking for mom support or like education, one's thinking of their PhD, and they're just talking to each other.
That's awesome.
And connecting over chocolate. So it's like, that's what I do. I just keep talking to everybody.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to talk to you guys too on the chat. So thanks for listening.
Yeah, and I think I would love to walk up to someone holding chocolates, giving them away. I mean,
that's amazing though. You know, like if you feel like you can't talk to people, I'm just like, thank you so much for your service. That was awesome. And then I just give them like our little tokens of appreciation. And they're like, what? For me? And I'm like, yeah, you just provided really great service today, you know? And then they just start talking like, what did you like about it? You know, and then the conversation flows from there. So.
Yeah, and I really love how you mentioned how you're not only just expanding your network, but you're helping other people expand their network as well. I think it's so important to have like a collaborator or a connector in your life, and like that's really amazing. I'm sure so many of us, as we build our own network, like that's something that we can aspire to be as well. You know, maybe not just through chocolate, but
you can do it through anything.
Anything. That's amazing. Yeah. So maybe you could share also a little bit more about the MBA program with Scheidler. Of course, you know, I mean, some of us maybe aren't in the Scheidler College of Business, but I am, and I'm graduating soon. So maybe this is a bit selfish for me to ask, but I'd love to hear about maybe your just experience with the professors, or even, you know, having a master's program. I'm not sure if you did it like where the classes are more in the evening, or if it was part-time and you were juggling chocolate, of course. You know, how was that experience, you know, just balancing school and work again?
It was hard.
Yeah.
I wasn't in chocolate. I was actually getting my master's because my current work, my boss encouraged me to get my master's at Scheidler. And so I did, and I did that at nighttime in the part-time program. So we went to work during the day, and then we came here at night. The thing that I really took away from Scheidler was that I walked into, I have a degree in elementary education. So you go from that to business, and they're like, we're going to review stats. I'm like, okay. And then econ, and I'm like, what? And I'm going through all of these classes, and I just remember thinking, okay, really don't understand these classes. I'm okay in this one, and wow, I'm actually kind of good at this area of marketing or whatever it was, you know? But what I learned a lot here that I am so glad I did was about making friendships and that networking, because there was all these different strengths in the room. And we had to take all of the classes, and we had to do a lot of group work and a lot of late nights together. That's why I was telling Casey when we were walking, I was getting flashbacks. Like I was like, oh, I remember walking on this gravel and coming up these stairs and da 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 da.
Yeah.
Because we would just lean on each other heavily and be like, okay, I am dying in this finance class. What is he talking about? You know, and that's how we kind of just built and learned not only about the value of other people and what they bring to the table, and that we needed them to survive. You know, not even the program, but just survive in business too. And then what were the strengths that I had that I could bring to my group? So like you said, what is that calling? How do you know that? I actually found some of that in the MBA program.
That's awesome. Yeah. And I think that's such a good, you know, it's such an encouragement to all of us students, you know, because you can't be everything. You can't be good at everything. Can't. So just make friends with the smart people.
All people, you know.
Yeah, all
like,
people.
I feel like all my friends were smart, and I was the presenter.
No, that's so important though. You know?
They said, we're not going on stage. And I was like, okay, I guess I'm the one going.
Sure. So we actually have a question online related. From Chelsea, it says, hi Erin, thank you for sharing your story. I would love to hear what were your favorite courses while at Scheidler. Are there any particular moments or lessons that you learned from your time at Scheidler that you could use in your day-to-day life at Chocolea?
Favorite course in marketing.
Awesome, me too. Those are my favorite courses as well.
Because it's a lot of storytelling, and how do I do that in my day-to-day life? Well, unfortunately, we are a small business. Thank you, Chelsea, for your question. So fortunately or unfortunately, we're a small business, so we don't have everybody just in one department doing, multiple departments running things. We all wear multiple hats. So I call everyone in our team a CEO, which stands for Chocolate Everything Officer, which means that if you came on, you were willing to do any and everything needed. So if it's cleaning the bathroom this week, making chocolates one week, running out an order to somebody, that was part of it. So I'm not only the owner or the visionary, or my role is called CCO, Chocolate Connections Officer, but I'm also doing like the social media and the marketing and a lot of the storytelling. So I feel like it helped me to figure out what is the day-to-day operational piece that I play while I'm in the business, and also my part out of the business, looking at it from a perspective of taking us to long-term sustainability. So I really see how finding that niche helped me to know where I could contribute best. Even though I did do, I'm paying attention to everything, and I made the chocolates, I actually weaned off of making the chocolates into the retail side of service and customer service into the marketing, because I started to also see that, my strength was not in the production side, but I really enjoyed the marketing side. So to be able to make space to hire people that had those strengths that were not necessarily mine. So I feel like that really helped, looking back at Schuyler and like finding out right away, like, oh, I like this. I want to learn more. I want to do that.
Yeah.
Thanks for that question, Chelsea.
That's awesome. And I think it definitely, having those marketing classes has helped you tell stories, even on, your Instagram Reels or your TikTok. Felt it was the perfect time to bring it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they're always so fun and encouraging, but I guess, I'm sure we're all on TikTok as viewers or Instagram Reels as consumers, but how has making that, I guess, doing that for your company, how has that been? Have you found it helpful, or even just like a fun moment in your company? Could you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, that's so funny. Like, the number one comment I get right now is, I love your TikToks.
Yeah, they're so fun.
So funny, because the true reality of it was just for fun. I wish I could take the credit of like I have this brilliant marketing idea, but my background is dancing. So I was, my past work was I had a business teaching dancing, and so in the pandemic, we actually, because we couldn't do anything, we were in the chocolate shop and that was it. We actually would set up Just Dance, or one of my girls, Tori, would bring in her like video game on a TV, and we would do it in the shop as like a break in between when we were making stuff as our exercise. And then we were like, I love dancing. I forgot, I haven't been dancing in a while. And then I heard of the TikTok thing. I was like, that sounds fun, like it's just dancing. So we just started doing it. I was like, come on, let's do it. So we just did it for fun, for team bonding, and I don't know, that's what it is, and it's bringing people joy, so we kept doing it. It's bringing us joy too, so.
That's awesome, and that's how I think it came so naturally to you guys, and it really shows, it's always so genuine and like really heartfelt watching your videos, your Instagram, so I love that, I think a lot of people, including myself, can get a little scared in front of the camera, I absolutely admire that. I think it's amazing. I think even like for business night, a different event that Schuyler's doing, we have our own reels, and it's like so scary, but you guys do such a great job in that.
But some people are good behind the camera.
I'll hold it.
There's somebody taking those TikToks, because when I try to do it by myself and I'm setting it up, it takes longer. But if somebody else does it, we do it in 5 minutes, Yeah,
it's all about acknowledging your strengths, mine's behind the camera.
I was like, I'll learn the dance, somebody figure out, and then we sit down and we're like, we don't know how to post this TikTok. We're like, we don't know how to like put in words, or, so it's developing as we're learning.
Sure.
Just gotta try.
Yeah, I think it's all about trying things, right? Yeah. So we have another question that was sent in before today's workshop from Jennifer, and she asks, how can the business community best help to support entrepreneurship in Hawaii? And are there any ideas where education, knowledge, or general support for entrepreneurs is lacking or could be improved upon?
What businesses can do for entrepreneurs? I'd say 2 things. One, really continue to grow and excel in your lane. So whatever your specialty is, whatever your service or your product is, keep pushing yourself to be the best, whatever your company is doing. Because we need to keep bringing that quality, whether it's product or service, to keep raising up Hawaii as a whole and our economy and every other, just bringing pride to each other, like what we have down the street, what did you have to eat, where did you go for that, when you're focusing on your own. But I also feel like you also need to collaborate. So I really like, I don't know if you heard of Simon Sinek.
I love him.
Okay, he's like
I follow him on
awesome.
LinkedIn.
Yeah, he's like that. And his thought of infinite game and how just we shouldn't be looking at each other so much as competitors, but like worthy rivals on a game that never ends. Like we're not playing this game to compete and take each other out and like there's one winner. It's like about us pushing each other while we're trying to be our best and we see somebody else trying to be their best, and then we're like, oh my gosh, let's collaborate because you're kicking butt and we're trying to too, and let's get together and then keep playing this game of business of raising everything lifestyle here in Hawaii. I think that's the answer, because when we collaborate with so many businesses all the time, and it's always so much fun. It's so refreshing. It builds those relationships, and just knowing that we're all going through this together, we're all trying our best, and it really raises the bar. We go back and we're like, wow, did you see their inventory system? Let's figure out how we can amp up ours. Like, wow, that product was so good. How do we put that in chocolate?
Yeah.
And I think that's the way we got to keep moving forward. As far as education, I think what you guys are doing here with PACE and offering these kinds of opportunities where you can hear people in the workforce that are just doing entrepreneurship, but being really real and raw about it, and not saying like, oh, so you go do this, you do this, you do this, and you're set, but really being like, so this kind of screwed up everything. And then, and if you watch my old Entrepreneurship Live, I would like tell stories where I was watching it and the whole room is cracking up because they're just like telling them about all the struggles and all the mistakes I made. And that realness, I think, is what helps us to keep going, because sometimes we just look at that highlight reel and think, oh, I can't do that. And I'm not going to try because I'll never get that. But actually it's not. We just have to share the real stories, and we'll find that we have a lot to learn from each other.
That's awesome, and that's really encouraging. I think especially with like Instagram and everything, it's like so easy to get caught up in like the best of the best, right? But I also loved how you mentioned in your response about, just collaborating with other people and not seeing them as rivals, but as like potential partners.
Yes.
So could you maybe share an example of whether, you personally or Chocolate has partnered with another entrepreneur or company, and just kind of how you started that relationship and how it worked out for you guys?
Yeah, there's so many. But I'll pick one is Tana Dang from Eden and Love. She started in Manoa also with the Wedding Cafe. And we were just friends and fans of each other from afar, but we were actually in touch from the very beginning, her saying, how can we get your chocolate in our space? And I was like, I don't know. Do we put a mini refrigerator in there? I was like, I don't know, let's try it. And we just kept trying different things back and forth over the years. And then it grew into a friendship where we still see each other, we still talk to each other about what are you struggling with, what's your next thing, and it's really pushed both of us because we've seen the longevity of this friendship and what has evolved over time, and we've seen each other's tears and triumphs, and so we're continuing to collaborate. Like right now we're doing they designed for us a reusable tote because we're really trying to see what else we can give with chocolate to not only be limited with chocolate, although it's fantastic, I love it. It does melt and then you eat it and it's gone. So I wanted a few things that lasted a little bit longer and people could use day to day, and that's the kind of stuff we're continuing to do with them. And there's just, you can't limit it to, well, what can go with chocolate? It's just, well, who else wants to collaborate? Oh, you do? All right. Maybe we'll figure something out. And then you just open that door. And then we always find a way, how to partner up eventually. So
that's awesome. Yeah, I have Eaten and Love tote bags specifically. They're actually really great. I get a lot of compliments. So I can't wait for yours to come out.
I know. We just did a reorder because we sold all out. And so we're like, oh, let's do it again.
That's so awesome that, Hawaii is just such a collaborative space for entrepreneurs and so supportive. That's really amazing. So I'm not sure. You have a question?
Yeah.
I was curious how you figure out what your customers are looking for in terms of products.
Oh, great question. I'm constantly finding out by asking them.
And what do they say? I'm curious what you hear most from them.
Most of the time they're like, I don't know, just keep doing what you're doing, surprises. But we'll hear things like, oh, I remember when I was a kid, I used to like eating this. So then recently we started doing, because of the pandemic, a lot of people are looking for some kind of comfort, which kind of shocked me. I thought we were gonna go straight out of business, nobody needs chocolate during a pandemic. But then people actually were looking for chocolate in the pandemic. And they were looking for comfort, and a lot of it was things from their childhood, like flavors they were familiar with. And so we became more like, okay, how can we take dark chocolate, how can we take truffles and things that we always looked at so luxurious and combine it with things that were nostalgic, that brought back these childhood memories or any memories, and put it together. And that's actually been like the dark chocolate gummy bears, the dark chocolate red vines, the just things that they're now, expressing back when we say, okay, how did you like that? What did you like? Then it gives them an idea, and they're like, can you try that with this? Can you cover this in chocolate? Can you cover this in chocolate? And then that's usually how it goes, or they bring stuff from other businesses as snacks, and they feed us, and we'll just usually take that, eat some, and then go, oh, this is good. And then so we'll start playing with some of those things too, and then seeing how we can incorporate that. So that's really how some of those flavors came about. But we love it when people tell us ideas, because we constantly need ideas.
Interesting. So you would say nostalgia is the main thing behind their requests, or are there other things that interest them about?
Recently, it kind of changes. I know at one point a lot of it was they want Hawaii flavors. Things that remind them of Hawaii, so they could take on their travels, and they could take to share with people something that's so unique and only you can get here. But in the pandemic, nobody was going anywhere, so it changed. The locals were telling us a different tune. So we just have to always listen to our community and find out what are they looking for, and kind of evolve with that. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, feel
Thank
free
you.
to. You have a question?
Yeah, I have a considerably more boring question, but
No.
you mentioned that you decided to start exporting to Japan.
Mm-hmm.
Why Japan? Is it cheaper, or is it pay better? Like, you make more profit than if you go to the mainland? I feel like it would be.
Yeah.
I don't know. I would have thought of maybe going to California first. But
True.
what was your thought process on why you export to Japan?
That's a very good question. That goes back to mission and gut. I actually, before I opened the shop, I went on a mission trip with my church to Japan.
Oh.
I saw the people and connected with the people, and they just shared such actually really hard stories about like depression and things that they were just felt like they connected really well and were looking for hope, and they were looking for peace, And so I said, you know what, I think I'll just do mission work here, But then I actually got called back and opened a store, and what happened was right away, a bunch of our customers were Japanese. Even if we are tucked way in the back of Manoa, we didn't advertise, we weren't in any of those like bus cruises or anything. They just like would walk. Some of them would walk from Waikiki up to Manoa and show up at our door. And I was like, what are they doing here? And they're like, oh, we would like your chocolate. And I was like, oh my gosh, I think we're supposed to go to Japan because they're coming to us. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of why we went that route. And then DBED, the Department of Business, Economic Development and Tourism, that's a mouthful. They offer a lot of classes, HTDC, SBA. There's so many different things that they offer to entrepreneurs and small businesses in terms of learning how to export. And so one of them was a grant provided to go on some of these Japan fairs to do trade shows. So that's kind of how we got our foot in, was to go and explore what does it look like and get feedback with our product in Japan, which was very well received. So that's why we went that route.
Why do you think it's so popular amongst Japanese public here and not other demographics?
Yeah, that's a good question too. The Japanese, I feel like, well, the thing they're always very surprised about is they're looking for high quality chocolates, but they don't like American chocolates. They say it's just too sweet. And so whenever they tasted our chocolate, they're very pleasantly surprised that the taste was very palatable to their liking. And the packaging, because I love like the artistic, the quality, the details in the packaging. And so it aligns with really like their packaging as well. So I think that's probably why, and you know, they're looking for omiyage gifts to send home all the time. Yeah, thanks for your question.
Yeah, sure. Did you want to ask? You can go ahead and ask.
Follow-up question.
Yeah.
Actually, now I'm really curious about the sugar content of your products. So,
Yeah.
you know, they proceeded to be less sweet, but is it quite a bit less sweet? Like when you look at the grams of sugar?
It is, but it is because America mainly uses a lot of milk chocolate. It's heavy on the milk chocolate side, yeah. Yeah, a little bit more. We're on the semi-sweet side, so it's not bitter on like the 70-90%, but yeah, so that's why maybe it goes better.
So less than 70%.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
As someone who's eaten a lot of chocolate chocolates, I can definitely say it's my palate as well, and my grandma's my grandma's very Japanese, so she loves chocolate too.
Oh,
so
right on.
I mean, you're definitely on the dot with that. I mean, my family loves it, so yeah, I think that's totally true. I mean, from my family's perspective at least. But I'd love to ask you a couple more questions about the book, and then we'll also open it up to viewers as well. But feel free to keep commenting. You also wrote in your blogs as well that you ended, maybe the year with the words like sweet, slow, and simple. So now it's 2022, and a lot of things are changing. Do you have any new words or new saying for this year as we go into it?
Wow, I love the research you did.
Well, I do my homework.
I know, you're like reminding me what I said was sweet, slow, and simple, and the words for this year.
Yeah, do you have any?
Yeah, we do. Our word for our company and for us is peace. So really just taking that whole mission statement and focusing it to one word, which is peace. And we're really looking at that from the perspective of how do we bring peace to our world personally and professionally as a team? How to connect with our chocolate friends in a way that they feel that peace, that we have a relationship, not so much of a transaction.
Sure.
The peace in knowing our quality and that is there, the peace in knowing that we put our everything into what we're doing, the peace in the service that we're providing is the best that we could do. And personally, my word for the year is that I feel like I got for the year was discipline. Which I was like, that's a fun word. But I felt like it's starting to make sense that, to have peace takes a lot of discipline, because I feel like I learned a lot in the pandemic, and we had time to kind of establish different routines in our life as a lot of things slowed down.
Yeah.
Especially for me and personally, a lot slowed down. And so I was able to establish a lot of things in my life that gave me peace. But as things pick up and the pressure to grow and build and be something again, it takes a lot of discipline to not just follow what other people expect, but to really say, okay, wait, let's hold on to the things that were doing good for us so that we were able to be the best version of ourselves for other people. So I feel like there's definitely a lot of discipline this year in thinking things through and not just acting impulsively or emotionally, which is very hard for me to take it slower and be a little more methodical than just, like, let's try it, let's go for it. There's some of those though, like the TikTok moment.
And that's fun. That's how you keep it exciting.
Yeah.
And I love how, whether it be like for your team or for yourself or for your blogs, you always just have like a theme or like some words that really drive you. I think maybe some of us, we came in today looking for like the golden ticket to having the perfect business or very technical skills, but even just having a word or something to ground you is really, it can change our perspective on things, so could you share, I guess, there's so many instances where I think you've brought it up already, but how is having that mantra, how did you maybe begin to have that or decide to have that, and how has it changed your perspective as a person and as a professional as well?
Oh, that's good. I like what you said. You said something about perspective. I think a lot of that piece came from just changing our perspective, honestly. and part of the perspective is that it's not an end game, but it's like finding peace in the process. So it's not about when you graduate or when you get that job or when you build to a certain level, but it's finding it in the day-to-day moments with the people around, with the small and simple stuff that you can enjoy. And I think the way that I kind of got to that was I have one solid routine that, like, how we exercise and have all these different good ideas that happen some days and don't. One that I'm pretty consistent on for years is I have a morning routine. So I actually wake up with chocolate.
Sounds amazing
Not
already.
a joke. I just like chocolate Oreos. Is like they just gave me some of the ones that like broke, and I was like, yes. Chocolate, coffee. For me, my Bible or a book, a notebook, and I just journal. So I usually start before my kids wake up. I don't know if you guys have kids, or your spouse or roommate or anyone else in the world that can text you. I try to like not look at anything and do this first in the morning. So it's like at least an hour, just me and my Bible and writing. So I usually start with gratitude and write 5 things I am grateful for from the day before. And they're very, very small things. So they're not like life, trees, air, and water, but it's like, that person I met at the gas station who told me I looked nice today when I felt junk, It's like writing those 5 little things and then just reading and writing and kind of getting from pen to paper the intention for the day around that theme of peace or around that theme of discipline, because you forget it by like 12 o'clock or 2 o'clock, right? And then it's like, oh yeah, next morning, where did I go off? Yeah, okay, let's go back again. So I think that consistency has really helped to keep moving in that direction. Yeah.
That's awesome. I definitely am looking to have more consistency. It's not here yet, but I mean, that inspires me a lot to do it.
Little. Like I said, hour, but it didn't start that way. 5 minutes.
Yeah.
5 minutes, sit down, open, and, like maybe you already do that, drink coffee. So then it's like, pair that with one other thing.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Building on it, totally. So I guess I have one more question. Well, I have many, but I'll keep it to one. I'll keep it to one, and then if you guys have any questions, we can open that up and on the chat as well. But for any of us who are starting off, it's not too late to have a New Year's resolution or to have a theme. But for those of us who maybe have never had one before, do you have any tips on having a life, semester, month, week mantra, or finding that word that is going to drive us?
Oh, man.
You think of such good words.
No, you can just borrow. Like because we send out an email every week with a theme.
Okay.
So if you really can't think of one, or you're like, I don't even know where to start, you can just subscribe. It's free, and then we send it out every Monday, and it kind of gives you like a mantra for the week.
Oh, okay.
And it's usually aligned to what we're going through, also personally and professionally. So I think this last week's one was like, together we rise. And it was just the idea of tide and water and going up and down, and how there's opportunities in low tide, but how high tide can throw us off sometimes too. And so it just gives hopefully a visual picture and a way to connect and say like, hey, maybe you can connect this week with this. We're going through this too. You're not alone. So start there.
That's awesome. Yeah. Thank you so much. So we have a couple minutes left. Does anyone have questions to ask or in the chat? Jessica, please.
Oh, I have a question.
Yeah.
Thank you, Erin, for sharing your life advice and experience with us.
Sure.
And then my question is, what flavor are you most proud of producing?
Which flavor?
Or I guess product. It could be anything.
Oh, that is so hard. I'll go with 2. For our truffle, peanut butter and guava jelly. Because it's really unique to Hawaii. I didn't even think about that. I didn't think it was unique to Hawaii, but because I grew up with peanut butter and guava jelly sandwiches. But it reminds me of it's so simple and it's so good, and it's named after my mom. So it's just I wouldn't be where I am today without my family and my parents, and just them making me a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. So that truffle became hers, and it's just kind of really to all the people craving a little peanut butter and guava jelly sandwich, we have it in a truffle for you. The other one is our crunch alea. It was chocolate is similar to a chocolate I ate as a kid, and my mom would take me to the chocolates because I love chocolate, like my whole life eating chocolate. But I would save my money. I would love going to this chocolate store, and my mom would get me this chocolate, and it was so good. And I told my team, we have to make it because they're no longer here. And they're like, what is it? And I was like, I don't know. It's like chocolate. And they're like, okay. It's like, and peanut butter and marshmallows and Rice Krispies and I don't know, but we should also put our own twist on it. And so it was like the team was like, okay, and they would like play with ratios after ratios, and like we would just keep eating it, making it. And I remember when they made it, I was like, oh my gosh, that's it, that's it, that's it. You know, like this is perfect. And like that smell and that it's a nostalgia, I guess, again, but like that, and that actually saved us in the pandemic too. When people I thought wouldn't buy chocolate, they bought a lot of Crunchilea. And when I made enough Crunchilea and I was like, what else do we do? Somebody said, do you ever try it reversed? Like instead of white chocolate, put dark chocolate, and dark chocolate, put white chocolate. And so we were like, I don't know, we'll try it. So we switched it, and then I couldn't come up with a creative name because of the pandemic. And I was like, it's called Reverse. So, and it became like a huge hit. And, you know, so it's very close in our heart to like something that was created as a team, and then something that our chocolate friends helped us also recreate as a reverse. Yeah.
Oh, I like that. I like how like your chocolates, you can memorialize things that like brought you joy.
Yep.
That's really sweet.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thanks for that question, Jessica.
Yeah, and similar, we have one online from Chelsea who also says the reverse Crunchilea is her favorite. So her question is, were there any flavors you experimented with that didn't work out so well?
Yeah, Choco. There was a lot that didn't work out well. Is that Chelsea laughing? I love seeing you guys on this. You know, at the beginning, because I don't come from culinary background, I like just would grab food from anywhere and see what it tasted like with chocolate. So we've tried like tofu and wasabi in chocolate. That wasn't that great. I did natto in chocolate. That was not great either. Yeah, there's a lot. I sometimes say we should show those so that people would appreciate what comes out.
Maybe April Fool's Day.
But we still in the kitchen have those that don't work out. You guys just don't see it. we just like, oh, nope, that was a good concept. But, you know, like, we just try it. That's the only way how. But, yeah, of course, there's tons of stuff that don't work out and taste horrible. Or maybe not, I shouldn't say horrible, but it was a weird combination.
Yeah. Do we have any other questions today? Oh, two more. Okay, maybe Gilbert first.
Yeah, thank you for coming here as well to share us with your experience. Would there be a product you have that for people who are worried about their health, maybe like, oh, I have diabetes,
Yeah.
can't eat chocolate at all?
Yeah.
Do you have a product like that?
For sure. You know, that's actually something that's been close to my heart too, is I saw some changes in the pandemic, and that's really what also brought me to actually not do some chocolate products too, because we want chocolate to be something that you enjoy, but we don't want you to just stay at home and eat chocolate all day and do nothing else. You know, we want you to use it as a way to connect and have relationships with people, and for those who maybe can't feel like they can't connect because they don't eat chocolate or they don't want to, that's why we started doing the book, the notebook, collaborations, tote bags, talks, anything that even is not necessarily related to that. And then we do some things that are a little bit lighter, like we've done some like I'm trying to think of something, dark chocolate dip, like fruit and things, or like, you know, the fresh strawberries, but just nothing with chocolate, because sometimes there's a few people that are like, they're allergic to chocolate, you know? So they want to support us, but they actually come in, they're like, we don't know how to support you. Like, we want to support you, but I'll just buy for other people. And we're like, oh, what can we get for you? You know, so this past Christmas we made like even chocolate diffusers that had the nice smell of chocolate. You know?
That sounds so good.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thanks for your question. It's a good question.
If I'm trying to follow up that one, you know, what's next for the product side of your company? You've been talking about getting totes and other little things for other people, different varying dietary concerns.
Yeah.
Are you thinking maybe going to like candied orange peels, or like, you know, things along the lines that are different products to expand upon your base, like you mentioned with coffee?
Yeah.
Is that kind of in the pipeline, or do you think it's just we'll stick with chocolate for now?
No, I don't write off not doing any of those kinds of things, but every month we actually come up with new products. So we have a signature line of the things that are kind of tried and true that people look for, and they want that consistency to share and what they knew from the beginning. But every month is something new. So we are doing things that are covered in chocolate. We're doing different flavored truffles. We have absolutely different products like that crunch that's kind of like we just grab a bunch of different ingredients to figure out how we can put that together. And there are some other things kind of out in the works that we're working on that is along the family line of chocolate. We did do coffee before, but we have to build back up, I think, to some of those things to be able to deliver it really well. But it's in the works to be able to do more of that, as well as non-chocolate products, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, so stay tuned.
Okay, so I think we're about out of time, but we have one more question from Kai, and he asks, is Hawaii's weather feasible to grow cocoa or cacao?
Actually, we're the only state in the United States that can grow cacao because we're as close to the equator.
Right,
so
right.
there is a lot of that work happening right now. It's an industry that is growing. We don't do the farm to tables. Just so to be clear, those are our friends that have the farms. I buy it from them after they do that whole process, and then we do the enrobing and the different molding and that kind of stuff. But it's a very exciting industry for agriculture and for tourism and things in Hawaii, just because it's something really unique to the islands, especially in the United States. So it's a slow process, but it's growing.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I love that. So I want to end it on a positive note.
Sure.
So, one of your chapters is on Celebrate. So could you share maybe what is one thing that you're celebrating today or this year or this week?
I guess I'll say like what I'm really celebrating is I'm so grateful that even in the really hard pandemic, it provided an experience that gave me an opportunity to encourage other people. Right now we're celebrating 1 year. We wrote the book in 2020. It got published in 2021. We made it in Hawaii. It's another made in Hawaii product. We're sharing it and talking about it. And then just this week, we made in Hawaii notebooks to go with this. So we're really trying to build the vision for everyone that you can create peace in your world right now. It doesn't have to be huge, and it doesn't have to be one type of thing, but you can find a lesson learned in everything. You can find an opportunity now, and you can find hope for our future. So that's really the running theme in the book. That's kind of I'm so glad that we're here to share that, that we took that hardship and many hardships, not just one, even the ones that happened, a couple days ago. It's a lesson learned. It's an opportunity for something else, and there's still that hope for our future.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much again. We're at time. So thank you, Erin. Let's
Thank you.
celebrate you.
Thank you.